Hey there, this is the Top Floor Please podcast where women in leadership rise together. I'm your host, Melissa McCormick, executive coach and founder of the Grace and Salt Leadership Academy. This is your space to find clarity, grow in confidence, and lead with bold authenticity. Whether you're navigating the boardroom, building your team, or stepping into new territory, you're not alone. Let's talk real challenges, real growth, and real leadership because the top floor isn't just a place, it's a mindset. Alrighty then, let's get started.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Top Floor Please podcast. I'm Melissa McCormick. I'm your host and the owner of Grace and Salt Leadership Academy, where we help women leaders stop doing all the things and getting frustrated about all of that, get their time back, and we help them get promoted. So we do all of this through the Executive Accelerator program. And today I am super pleased to introduce my friend, Lacey Olson, who is our guest today. So welcome, Lacey, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Melissa. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I love these conversations. And so just to kind of get things rolling, just tell us a little bit about yourself, your story, your current role, whatever you want to share with us.
Okay. Well, I'm Lacey Olson, as Melissa said. Currently, I am the joint owner of Transport Express, which is a transportation brokerage company based out of Eagan, Minnesota. If you don't know what that is, I didn't either before I bought the company. So easiest way to explain it is I like to say we're a travel agent for freight. I don't go on the trucks. I don't own the trucks. But similar to your travel agent, they create the vacation for you and then you go on it. And that is what we do for shippers. When they have freight that needs to move, we create the plan and we make sure it gets to where they need it to be. But that's just like one part of who I am. I am a wife. My husband and I, we had our first date anniversary on June 11th. We have been dating for 20 years.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, married for 18. We've got three amazing sons who are 8, 10, and 12. As I was just telling Melissa. Oh my God. Yeah, it's baseball season. So everything that goes into that triplicate, plus my husband coaches. He also is the operating owner for a business that we own together, which is a concrete and masonry company based out of Fridley, Minnesota. So if you're local, some of the work that we've done is like the Armory, the renovation there when they changed it from like the old Armory into the music venue. We've got a brand new amphitheater down in south of the metro in Shakopee that just opened this summer. We did the concrete and masonry work there. So it'll be 16 years that we have been in business in that realm. I only know the cool things. My husband runs that one. And I run the transportation one in between all of the things. I am a lover of learning. That is something that I remember telling my dad when I was little, Daddy, I want to go to school forever. And he said, I'll pay for your undergrad. So I took him up on that. I majored in psychology, minored in vocal music. That is one of my lovely little party tricks is I can sing pretty darn well. Karaoke is one of my favorite things.
I love it.
Yeah. And then I did get my master's in business before we had children. But yeah.
Yeah. So how long okay. So you got into this travel agent kind of thing for trucking. Why? What was this? What's the story there?
It really was about differentiating our business investments, right? So both my husband and I grew up with entrepreneur families. We also watched what can happen worst case scenario in that case. Yeah. Actually, both of our parents ended up closing their businesses and filing bankruptcy. And that is a risk that we all take on when we're entrepreneurs. And so I don't believe that anything that happens to us is quote unquote bad. I think there's redirection and there's learning in everything. And so, we use other people's situations too for that. So my family was highly concentrated in the construction realm. And so when 2008 happened and the housing bubble burst, that is really what flipped my parents upside down in their business. And so us having the concrete and masonry business, we also dabble in real estate investing. We have single family rental properties. We were trying to kind of branch out into something that wasn't necessarily, housing or construction related. And this opportunity came to us. We did it in partnership with two other people. And the wife of that couple And I had time on our plates because I had actually been home with our boys for 8 years. I had been in the investment realm, was licensed to advise, looking for a large corporate situation. And when we decided to start a family, I was like, I feel like I'm a cog in a machine and nobody knows my name, and realized that that wasn't going to work for me long term. And I decided that I was either going to be home or this was just going to be like a fresh start. Ended up feeling called to be home for about those 8 years, but I am so happy to be working outside of the home now, even with the chaos, Melissa.
So I want to dig into that just a second, because I've had recently conversations with other like younger women, right? I'm retirement age, so I've gone through all of that. And my journey was just a little bit different, but they're questioning if I stay home with the kids, then how do I get back? How do I continue to stay relevant and get back into the workforce? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I did it kind of an unconventional way, right? We bought a business and that's how I went back to working outside of the home. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for everybody.
Yeah.
But even in those 8.5 years that I was home with the boys, I was still attending annual leadership conferences with my husband. He was consulting with me on business level decisions. And I am the majority shareholder in the concrete and masonry business. So I had to be present in financial decisions because it was my name on the dotted line. But outside of those things, one of the biggest little things that I did over time was I read every day during nap time, and it wasn't a long time. My goal was 10 minutes or 10 pages, whichever I could get in, right? Sometimes it took me 10 minutes to read 2 pages because I was so mentally depleted, because being home with small children is a lot.
It is a lot.
Yeah, you're constantly aware of everything, and that's draining.
Yeah.
But I knew that if I stopped growing and ingesting new information, that would actually be the end of me. And, like I said, I'm a lover of learning.
Oh, wow.
And this idea that more than nothing, right? I chose to do more than nothing, Melissa. Like, it wasn't an all or nothing. It was today I can manage 10 minutes of reading before I also fall asleep while the kids nap. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's consistency over quantity was kind of a key thing for me, I think, in being ready when the opportunity came.
Yeah.
After 8 years. So, don't get me wrong. I question my ability to do what I do every single day. And am I qualified for this? And on paper, probably not. You know what I mean? To step in and be the president of a transportation brokerage company and never worked a day in the transportation industry. But I know people, and I love psychology. I love how the brain works. I love human behavior. And, business is business. As long as you keep the people part present, I think anything is possible. Whether you spend 8 years perfecting it at home with your children.
That's right.
Did it in the actual office.
Yeah, I love that so much. And you had transferable skills. And I think people don't, especially women, at least that's all I know is women, right? But maybe guys do it too. But I feel like we tend to discount those types of skills that we've honed when you're home and you're managing things. And those are really solid transferable skills that you can apply then in the workforce. And that's something that we take a little bit lightly, in my opinion.
One, I like that you called it transferable skills, because in my head, and I rarely say this to my employees out loud, but there are moments in the coaching and the leading that I'm like, I'm doing this at home with my 8-year-old too, right? Like, yeah, they're humans. And usually when there is some form of tension or not meeting expectations, it's either a lack of understanding, like they don't clearly understand what they're being asked to do.
Yeah.
Or they lack the skills, and it's a skill development issue. Rarely is it an internal, intrinsic, there's something wrong with them and they hate me kind of an issue, right? So how would I treat my child in developing a new skill that he's never had to learn before? I would do that gently and kindly and patiently. And I guess I have no idea what Joe, my employee, had for an upbringing and how his brain was taught to, do crisis management.
Mm-hmm.
If he was taught a way that's ineffective, that's no fault of his own. And my job here is to teach him a new skill.
Yeah.
And all of that is easier said than done, but that's where my heart's at anyways.
Yeah, and that's a really great segue into kind of what's one of those leadership lessons that you had to learn the hard way. Like, how do you have so much knowledge that you're sharing in just this few minutes that we've been together. And I wonder, like, your whole journey, right? So what's one of those leadership lessons that you'd like to share that you learned the hard way?
I would say this is one I'm still actively learning,
Okay.
but I can recognize it when it's occurring. So I have created some space for myself to pause and evaluate if this is how I want to go forward. But this idea that as the leader, I'm expected to know the best way. And so I interpreted that a long time ago. So if I know the best way, it must be the only way.
Oh.
And I had so I was 26, 27, leading a team of like 15 people, middle management in a large bank. And I had this woman, Jane, is what we'll call her. And she'd worked her entire life in this department. She handled one particular process. She knew it inside and out, and she'd been doing it for longer than I'd been alive at this point, right? Well, and I came in and I saw how manual, how labor intensive. I saw opportunity to lighten her load. And rather than guide her in that, I said, hey, I've got a better idea. And I said, this is what we're going to do. And then I did it. She retired earlier than planned. And she left me a scathing review and said that I actually made her want to leave a job that she'd never want to leave in the 20 plus years she'd been doing it. So, and I wasn't wrong, Melissa. I did have a better way. But it was very much about me discounting all of the experience that she had. Because my way was more efficient, but I was probably missing a lot of things that she knew, because there are, you can't systemize every single aspect of everything. It just doesn't work. There's too many variables out there. And I would say that lesson, it was pretty pivotal for me. Like I remember I cried. I felt I got her, like, they were like, here's the feedback she gave at her exit interview. And I was like, what? So when we bought this company was 31 years old when we acquired it. We bought it from the founder. The people that were working for the company had been doing this particular, not necessarily with our company, but had been doing these jobs for 20 plus years, almost every single one of them.
Okay.
And so when my business partner and I walked in the door, she and I have been operating it together. We said, we're not changing anything for a year unless it's actively harming the business, right? If we find something that's actively harming the business, we will make an adjustment. But if it's coming down to the actual, like the systems and procedures that are in place, we want to see a full year in the life of Transport Express before we start rearranging things, because we know that we know the least of anybody in this room right now. So I think I learned that lesson the hard way, but I think the part to remember is that I learned it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And not only did you learn it, you applied it. Right? So not only did you learn it, but you applied it. So what was the response from the employees when you let them know that? Because they probably were pretty, unsettled, I would imagine, with new owners.
Well, especially look at me, Melissa. Like, let's be honest, right? I've got blue hair.
Yeah.
I am a loud personality. And I'm like, I don't know anything about this. So they were very apprehensive. And honestly, none of them believed us that we didn't come in to just gut it and turn it. But now we're 4.5 years in, and I would say we've got 95% belief at this point, right? There's some that still don't believe us, but I know that I'm doing everything, and my business partner, we're doing everything to be people of our word.
Yeah, it sounds to me like I was just writing down here, building trust takes time. Mm-hmm. And that's what you're doing. You're building trust both ways, and that mm-hmm. takes time. I think that's a really big kind of nugget out of this little section of our conversation too.
And I think too, Melissa, one of the things I have to remind myself as a leader, right? Because I know that I am acting in a trustworthy manner, but the only thing I can control is my behaviors. I can't control how people perceive them mm-hmm. and the stories that they add to them, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And so trust is earned, trust takes time, and trust is a choice at a certain point, right? Like my people, at one point or another, almost every single one of them has chosen to trust me in the last 4.5 years. And it might be a little akin to forgiveness where they have to choose it over and over and over again, right? It's not like a one and done kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But, as the leader, right, it can be really easy to be like, why don't these people trust me? Like, what am I doing wrong? And, and I confidently know, Melissa, at the end of the day, most days, I can say, okay, I did everything I said I was going to do. And if I didn't, then I acknowledge it, right? And I go, hey, I said X and I did Y. And sometimes there's an apology in that, and sometimes there's an explanation in that. But acknowledging it is key, is what I would say, as you're kind of waiting for that trust to develop and grow and them to choose that with you.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Has there been a time when and I'm sure there has been, so that's probably not a way to start this question, when you had to lead through pressure and conflict? Because I know you have. What did that teach you about yourself?
That I am really well equipped to figure things out. I may not know the answer, but I am overly optimistic about my ability to figure things out, because that is what my history is telling me I'm capable of, right? When I look back, that informs me. We actually had kind of a high pressure situation towards the end of last year. I had 3 key employees leave for a competitor. Out of the blue. And that kind of shook me. It was like, whoa, like I thought these people were bought in, and I wanted to make it personal, right? I wanted to take it personal because it felt like a betrayal and it felt like an attack. But really, when it came down to it, they were doing exactly what I would hope anybody would do. If you see a better opportunity for you and your family, and you can take it without harming somebody else overtly, I'm not going to stand in your way, right? And so the pressure that created then was, one of them was on my management team over the accounting department, and I didn't have anybody to fill that gap.
Oh, goodness.
Because we're small. We're a little company, right? Yeah. I've never been an accounting manager in my life, Melissa, but I know just enough to be annoying, is what I like to say about like my knowledge of accounting and financials and all of that stuff. So I had to step in, and I actually had to like get my hands dirty, which is funny, is actually my MO. I will come and I will take control. That's my knee-jerk reaction. And so it was kind of fun in a weird, messed up way to be able to work side by side with these people that I had just come in and automatically been in a leadership position with. And I do remember looking at my general manager one day and being like, you've never got to see me work before, right? And so I think that that was a really good experience. It created very positive things in me, in our company, in me as a leader too, right? Like, I had been leaning really, really heavily on my general manager and my accounting manager, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in the course of leaning super heavily on them, because I was trying not to step on their toes and get in their way, I had actually undermined my own knowledge of what's going on within our business. And so this kind of blew things wide open in a way that now I'm connected in a wholly different way. I have since stepped back. There is an accounting manager in place. She's fantastic. And I've gone back to my like more oversight role, but with new controls in place, right? I learned some things.
And maybe some different questions to ask and different conversations that you're having.
Yes, absolutely that. I don't know. I think pressure and conflict is rarely something that we ask for, but it's always something that we need.
100%. Yes, 100%. I'm doing a program next week, and it involves conflict and having those conversations or asking the questions that you're holding back. How do we just not hold back? Because through conflict, healthy conflict, comes really good stuff, and it moves organizations forward, even though most of us don't like that word, right? And we're just kind of like, I want everybody just to get along.
Well, and I think conflict has such an aggressive tone to it. And I think that, one of the things kind of that leadership lesson, right? The my way or the highway, I know the best way. I mean, I do not want to disparage the other gender that we, work with, but there is something to be said of the style of leadership that sometimes us as women look to. And if it's a more masculine, dominant kind of leadership, sometimes that shuts people down.
For sure.
Right? Yeah. And I think it's very important to remember when there is conflict, that curiosity is like one of the best tools you can bring into it. And this idea that you don't know what they know. You know what you know and what you think you know, right?
Right.
But if you can go into any conflict with curiosity and like the goal is that you're on the same team and you want the same thing, that just really softens most people's posturing. And it softens your own, right? Because what we bring and what we emit is exactly what we get back from our people.
Yeah, that is so true. Has there been a time where you had to kind of fake it till you make it?
This job? Hello.
That's a good point.
I feel like that's been my motto my entire life, Melissa, is fake it till you make it.
And then fake it some more.
We're all making it up. Melissa, we've never done this. None of us have ever lived these lives before. So like, if you think about it, anything new you encounter, however you choose to handle it, you're kind of faking it till you make it, right? Yeah. Like, how about when we bring those little babies home from the hospital?
Oh my gosh, there's no manual.
I remember laying my son down and being like, now what? Okay, I made it. I pushed it out, brought it home. Now what?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've been faking it till we make it our entire lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I hadn't thought about that when it comes to the kids, but it's so true. When my daughter was born, I didn't babysit. I babysat one time. And so I wasn't really a baby person. My husband had younger nieces and nephews, so he was used to growing up with babies. So he gave Amanda her baths for the first 3 months of her life because I couldn't.
You played that well. Nice job.
Right. Yeah. But every time I was so nervous that she'd start screaming because she could feel that, I was nervous. And so he's like, would you just go and I'll take care of it? But that was until I learned how to do that. So you're absolutely right. There's just no manual. And I love applying fake it till you make it to parenthood. I am going to tell my daughter that because that is perfect. That is perfect.
I tell my sons that all the time, Melissa. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I messed up. Can you please give me some grace? Because this is my first time being a mom, right?
Okay. Yes, being a mom of kids your age, right? You're doing a first every day. So true. So what would you tell your 25-year-old self about confidence, career growth, about whatever? What would you tell that for your 25-year-old Lacey?
Oh, man. Settle down.
Oh, settle down. Okay.
Settle down. I have this, if I know where I want to be, or I know the thing that I want to do, I should be able to do it just because I know. right? For example, golf, learning to play golf, right? I have what I like to refer to as shame-based rage when I'm on the golf course. So, but this, like, just because I conceptually understand all the steps that go into a golf swing doesn't mean I'm automatically going to be good at it, right?
Right, but you want to be a
so
contender.
That's kind of what
right, in your, sure. Totally. That's why I don't play golf anymore. It's because I'm terrible.
I just want to get to the point where, like, I'm not taking snowmen every other, 8. Like, yes, you know what I mean? Like, snowman, 8's my max. But this idea of just because I have a desire or a goal doesn't mean that I'm a failure for not automatically being there, right? Like, there's something I used to tell my, success has been the journey, not the destination. And I said that all the time, and it really didn't sink in until like recently. And what I would tell my 25-year-old self is like, yes. And as long as you're taking at least one step, tiny foot slide, as long as you're headed in the direction of that goal, you're actually exactly where you're supposed to be right now. Because if I would have achieved my goal of being a CEO of, whatever and I was, when I dreamed it at the age of 26, I just told you what I did to one of my employees at the age of 26. I was not ready for that goal. That doesn't mean that I'm a failure. It means that that goal and that desire that I have are literally just informing me every time I'm faced with a choice. So it's not about, okay, how many books can I read this year so that next year I'm ready to step into that role? It's okay, in this situation where I have the choice to binge watch a 3rd episode of Vampire Diaries or go to bed so that I wake up tomorrow and I am rested enough to do the foundational things, the affirmations, manifestations, kind of physical fitness, like those things that are really important, I know, to being the person that I want to be, future me, essentially. That choice right there actually is a step in the direction of my goal and my desire. And that right there, that is success. And that's what it means when you say success is a journey, not a destination. And it's not a cumulative, like, ooh, I made it to the top kind of a thing. It's oh my gosh, look at all those steps I took along the way to prepare myself to be in this exact place at this exact time. So that's a lot, but that's what that's what I keep trying to tell every young person I know. Like, hey, you know what? You're 21 and yeah, you overdrafted your bank account. And you got up and went to work the next day. That right there is the indicator of success, not the overdraft. That's a lesson to learn from.
Right.
That's not a failure.
That's right. Yeah. So on that same kind of vein, what do you want the women who come behind you to know about leadership or just some lesson along the way? What advice would you have for them?
So many things. The first one is that you are not broken and there is nothing wrong with you. And everything that you want to do, you hold within you the capabilities to do it. And that does not mean that you're capable right now. It just means that you hold the potential and the possibility to create what you want. I think somewhere along the line, I internalized this idea that based on my gender, based on my mistakes, based on just kind of who I am, there was something wrong with me and I needed to fix me. And even in all that reading I did, like those years that I was home with the kids, that was all based in like me feeling kind of like a failure and like I wasn't living up to my potential. And I came at it from this, I need to fix me mentality. And what's shifted for me now is that I still want different things in my life. I would like to break out of certain patterns, right? I would like to choose different things. But the motivation behind that desire is actually one that's out of love for myself. I joke a lot about tomorrow, Lacey, right? Going back to that binging another TV show, right? Instead of going to bed. Well, I go, okay, tomorrow Lacey is going to be really thankful to today Lacey if I go to bed right now. And I am really motivated by other people. So I've kind of created this other persona in my head.
I love it.
That I'm loving and I'm taking care of. Like, ooh, yeah, tomorrow Lacey is going to have a way harder time if today Lacey drinks 3 glasses of Prosecco on the boat. That kind of a thing. And so it's not oh, you're wrong for wanting to have 3 glasses of Prosecco on the boat. I'm actually just going to choose not to do that so that tomorrow I am capable of being the person I know that I am.
Yeah.
And it's just easier, right? It's smoother. Like we make choices that make our life harder. And we make choices that make it smoother. And sometimes I do choose the Prosecco on the boat, Melissa. I absolutely do.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we need that from time to time. But I think that I have a ton of lessons and little nuggets that we've talked about the last, 30, 40 minutes. I love the, reading, right? Trying to read if you're in a season of life, whether you're home with kids or whether you're in between jobs or whatever that looks like for you. I love that, trying to keep reading. And that kind of goes to your tomorrow Lacey too, as well, because you're really pouring into yourself. The more or nothing, like just do a baby step, just do one step versus not doing anything at all. And that the theme of our discussion really is about choice. And what does that look like? Kind of slowing down. We have expectations, especially when we're younger. It's like, oh no, I want to go, sky's the limit kind of thing. And we don't have a lot of patience. So it's learning how to kind of slow the roll, if you will. Trust takes time. Lead things with curiosity. If we're going into conflict, I have so many things here. Is there kind of would you wrap up that and, whatever lesson it is that you want, one key takeaway to our listeners, what would that be?
Do I have to choose from that list? Or
you can choose from what you can do your own thing. Those are just the little nuggets that I pulled out of our conversation.
I think that the key thing that I would like everybody to hear is that you will create more impact and change by loving yourself than through anything else you do. And when I say loving yourself, I don't mean that in a selfish, self-serving, like me before anybody else kind of mentality. It goes back to that tomorrow Lacey kind of idea that I have, right? I love me enough and I care about me enough to do this thing. And that has created exponential change in my life in a way that all of the years of fixing and kind of hating me didn't. So I'm not saying do different, like everything I did, I think was good and it created value in my life, but it was like the why I did it, like the I'm bad and wrong, so I got to fix it versus the, oh my gosh, I'm whole and loved and I deserve good things. And so I'm going to choose good things for me, right? That create a life of ease and love and freedom.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, as we kind of segue into our fast bonus round, I do have to ask, the blue hair, what's behind that?
It brings me joy.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah. How long have you had blue hair?
Well, blue, it's been about 2.5 years. I have been doing like these vibrant fashion colors since I left the corporate world. So 2013, like I had my first son and then I immediately got like purple. I was blonde on top and then purple on the bottom. And I've kind of eased my way into it. I've gone back and forth. But yeah, I had to get rid of the purple though, because here in Minnesota, I get really tired of being asked if I'm a Vikings fan.
Oh, and yeah.
I don't want to ostracize anybody, but professional sports, I could take them or leave them, right? Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
So, but the blue feels like me, so we're sticking with it.
I love it. Well, it looks fantastic.
Thanks.
I got 5 questions for you. First one is, are you a coffee, tea, or something else gal?
So every morning I wake up to a cup of Moroccan mint green tea by my bedside that my husband sets there for me because he wakes up before me. I know, right?
So
like,
sweet.
Don't even get me started. He's amazing. And then coffee as needed. I do enjoy it, but I have to be really careful with caffeine consumption because I just sort of vibrate at this level anyways.
Yeah. What's your go-to hype song? Like before a big meeting or presentation or whatever.
Melissa,
what's that song?
Okay, so it's High Vibe. Oh my God, what is it? It's by Shariah Wise, and I just blanked. It's HVBB. And it stands for High Vibe, like bad B, right? And it's a total pump up song, but it's all affirmations, and it's all these things about like I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am wise, I am knowing, it's just that. And it's like I am my own, like I create things within me, and this idea that I am my own alchemist, like this idea that we take in these supposedly negative experiences and we turn them into gold or learning. So that one really gets me going.
Who's the singer?
Shariah, Shariya Wise is the name that she does it under. Right. It's called Baddie Affirmations is the name of the album.
Okay. Baddie Affirmations. Okay. I love it. What is one word that your team would use to describe your leadership style?
I hope they would say collaborative. Yeah. I mean, collaborative. Curious would be one I would hope to hear too. We might get a little chaotic in there as well. So just cover the 3 C's.
Yeah, but that just makes it more fun.
I like to say I'm the fun kind of crazy.
Right. Cool. I love it. What's a book or a podcast that you would recommend to other women?
Oh my gosh. This one is hard because I love reading. So I would say, can I do it as though I'm like suggesting this to somebody who's maybe a little earlier on in their leadership?
You absolutely can.
Okay. Anything written by Brene Brown or Adam Grant, I think is critical reading for anybody who is a leader because it helps you understand your own struggles with, Brene Brown, shame, and all of the things that we do out of shame and fear. Yeah. And when you can start understanding that, you actually start to deconstruct your reactions. And as a leader, you can't be reactive. You need to pause and take that space. But I'm totally cheating and I'm going to give more. Melissa, this is like my love language. But the book that I read last October that has absolutely transformed my life. There's been a few, but this is the most recent like transformational thing where my entire quality of life has changed because of it. It's called Abundant Ever After. It's by Kathy Heller.
Oh, I like Kathy Heller. Yeah. All right. Abundant Ever After. Okay.
Yep.
I will pick that one up. I'm a book junkie, so if I can use that term, I have so many books. So if anybody recommends one to me, I'm on Amazon buying it. I may not read it right away, but I have it, on my list.
Oh, for sure.
That's going to be one that I will look at. Yeah. Oh, awesome. So finally, last question. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you be doing? What I mean by that is, let's just say, go back in time, you graduate from high school and you just went straight into the workforce. What would be
I would be doing the job that I was doing at that point.
Whatever that job. What is it that you really wanted?
Well, what I thought I wanted was to be an absolute corporate girly, right? Pencil skirts, climb that ladder, boss bee, like living downtown in a high-rise apartment, traveling the world. I wouldn't have kids. I actually, that was a later in life choice that I made. So, yeah.
Any particular industry or... Just really
I liked the financial realm. I do enjoy operating in more male-dominated fields. It's just something that I do like. I mean, I love women. I love working with women. I love supporting women. But there's something about these more male-dominated fields that maybe it's the challenge of it, right? Where I get to walk into the room and be like, oh, you underestimated me.
That's right. So. Yeah. It might be that. It might be the fact that, sometimes they're a lot of fun.
Oh
to
God, yeah.
do
I got a
work
house full
together.
of them.
That's that's right. You do have a house full of them. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. How can our listeners how can they connect with you?
I'm on LinkedIn, Lacey Roxanne Olson, Lacey with an E, Olson with an O. Transportexpress.com is our company website. Feel free, if you ever want to, anybody who needs to ship anything, send them our way. But that's pretty much how you can get a hold of me.
Awesome. That's wonderful. And for our listeners, if you please be sure to subscribe to, we're either on Spotify or on YouTube. That way you know when our next podcasts are going to be dropped. If you're interested in the Executive Readiness Accelerator program, just send me a direct message or email me and we'll get back to you. So Lacey, thank you so much. It was a pleasure chatting with you today. And thank you for sharing your abundance of knowledge with our listeners. It was really, really valuable.
Thank you for having me on, Melissa. This is one of my favorite things to talk about. Thank you.
Oh, I love it.
Thanks so much for hanging out on the top floor. If today's episode gave you something to think about or a little boost, share it with your friends to keep the momentum going. And hey, if you're ready to rise, find your voice, and lead with clarity and confidence, we'd love to connect with you. Reach out at graceandsaltleadership.com to learn how Grace and Salt can support your growth. Remember, you don't have to lead like everyone else. Just lead like you. All right, I'll see you next time on the top floor.